Okie dokie, a quick tutorial on labor supply elasticity. All we really want to know is how sensitive are workers to changes in wages? Why do we want to know this? Because it helps us understand why wage inequality is rising. It helps us understand a lot about the movement of wages. And also, for an extension, it helps us understand when there's taxes on labor and like unemployment insurance and other payments that workers have to pay out of their payroll taxes, who those really fall on. That's beyond the scope of this tutorial, but it does help explain a lot. So, quick gut check. Which of these two labor supply curves shows a worker who is more sensitive to wages? Curve 1 or curve 2? What helps to answer this is using some data points. So if the wage goes from 5 to 7, we can see that in curve 2, a wage going from 5 to 7 makes us want to work more, just like we'd always expect, but not that much more, right? The quantity increases only a little bit, maybe from like here to here. But in curve 1, that same wage increase from 5 to 7 gets us working a lot more. So curve 1, that person is much more sensitive. There's a much greater increase in quantity from the same increase in wage. And your equation for elasticity of labor supply is basically you're looking for the size of the quantity response compared to the size of the wage change. So it's the percent change in quantity of labor divided by percent change in wage rate. It should be obvious why we don't use the sort of raw numbers, because you want to compare apples to apples. So you want to get it into percent changes. So percent change quantity of labor divided by percent change in wage. Quantity goes on top. If you don't remember how to do percent change, it's just the change over the base for whatever variable you're looking at. So let's do a quick practice. Here's your example. Go ahead and pause and work the problem if you like. And your answer is 1.25, to be read as if the wage changes by 1%, we will change our quantity of labor by 1.25%. And if the wage changes by 10%, we'll change our quantity supplied by 12.5%. So, somebody that is very sensitive to wages has a flat supply curve. And what kind of person is that? Somebody that can walk away from their employer and take another job and reduce their labor if they want. So that's like, somebody whose skills are in high demand, who has a lot of employers after them. In the opposite case, somebody that has few job prospects, or there aren't many firms to work for and they're competing against a lot of different people, they will find themselves working the same number of hours regardless of if the wage is high or low. And if firms are growing in power and they know that workers don't have many options, they can use this to their advantage. And we might see this as a reason why wages have remained stagnant for the last few decades, even as profits have risen.